What's up guys, Card Protagonist here. Today, I'll be doing a deck profile on my Dragon World Deadly Eyes Dragon Blood Sect deck from the Climax boosted Violence Vanity. The corruption of Vanity Heart's Destroy has evolved to dance Bloody Eyes into the Lost Vader Deadly Eyes. With abilities to further control even the most aggressive decks in the meta, Blood Dragon Sect are able to keep up with the strongest decks with tournament reports to back them up. Dragon Blood Sect has shown great achievements, even making it to World Championship Finals. So, what new dark powers does our delusional dragon attain? Let's find out. For the buddy, I'll use Heart's Blood Eyes Deadly Eyes because he is the main engine of the deck. Since this is a size 3 base deck, there is very little monsters that you'll be calling from this deck, mostly the size 0s or size 3. And since Deadly Eyes is the main focus of the deck, I've decided to make him my buddy for the extra live buddy gift. Another buddy alternative could be the Little Marrow Alice, because she will be a size 0 that you'll call before calling him sometimes, and I do play 4 copies of her, so this is another alternative you guys could consider. So without further ado, let's get started with the main deck. So first up, the boss monster of the deck, Deadly Eyes. We play 4 copies of Deadly Eyes because you really want him in your opening hand, and thankfully we have Alice, size 0, to add him into our hand as well. So this deck overall is really consistent because there's a lot of options for you to go into your Deadly Eyes. So what makes Deadly Eyes more unique than its previous form, Bloody Eyes? Deadly Eyes, instead of targeting one monster during your opponent's battle phase, targets all monsters that are in stand, which means even if you're fighting against Lost World, you can destroy their whole board instantly, because its ability allows you to nullify their abilities. So cards like Vanity actually lose their anti-destruction ability, and you'll be able to control even the toughest deck like Lost World. However, we did lose one thing, which is the 1 extra damage gain whenever a card is destroyed by card effect. But to be fair, the trade is pretty worth it, because you're only losing 1 damage to gain a whole lot of good stuff. And also, its new counter ability is very unique, because usually when you link attack into a counter attack unit, you only get to destroy 1 unit. However, with Deadly Eyes ability, this card counterattacks all attacking monsters, so everyone who link attack due to its ability will get destroyed by it. So it is an awesome skill and gives you so much board control. So overall, Deadly Eyes is a huge upgrade from its previous form. Also, its stat is pretty dang awesome. It's 12, 3, 10, which means you'll be able to tank even more attacks, and 12k attack so they can run through more monsters. And it's 3 critical, which means you'll be dealing a whole lot more beatdown. Next up, we play 2 copies of the previous form, Bloody Eyes. Bloody Eyes is still a very good backup, with the ability to tank just in case you don't draw into Deadly Eyes. So its core cost is pay 2 gauge and put the top 3 cards of the deck in it. So, when a monster on an opponent's field is destroyed by card effects, deal 1 damage to opponent. So it's not once per turn, so if you get to destroy some stuff by other card effects like Black Cloth, you will be able to deal extra damage to your opponent to push for game. At the start of your opponent's main phase, you can choose a monster at stand on your opponent's field, nullify abilities of that card, and that card must attack this card first during the battle phase alone. So you can pick the most threatening monster on your opponent's field and control it, so it's a pretty dang good ability. Also, one thing to note for Bloody Eyes and Deadly Eyes, they have the ability to nullify your opponent's abilities for the rest of the turn. So even if their monsters survive for some reason, all their abilities is nullified, so they will lose their triple attack. Vanity Heart's Destroy will lose its dimension draw, its double attack, and its ability to send monsters when it attacks. So overall, it is not only used for destruction, it is also used for controlling the monster's ability, such as double attack and Soul Guard. So the Bloody Deadly Eyes series is overall an awesome tank. And the last size 3 plays 2 copies of Silent White. Silent White is a monster that can shrink to size 0 if you control a size 3 Blood Dragon Sect on your field. So it has a core cost of 1 gauge and putting a top card of your deck into so. It is a very powerful counter ability which allows you to attack 1 more time. Choose a Blood Dragon Sect on your field. You may pay 1 gauge if you do stand that unit. So it is very useful against decks that actually rest your monsters. If you were to be rested, your double attack will actually be wasted, so you'll be able to use Silent White to restand that unit so that you can continue double attacking. Otherwise, it gives you an additional attack which is awesome anyway. So we play 2 copies just for the extra push. Next, we are going to go through the soul cards. 4 copies of Eternity Edge. When this card enters the soul of a Blood Dragon Sect, that card gains plus 3k attack power, 1 critical, and penetrate. So it gives Deadly Eyes the option to gain penetrate, which is very important because it is a very center-based meta right now. And also the extra crit and power is good to have. It also has an activate ability from your hand. You can send this card into the soul of a Blood Dragon Sect if you do draw a card. So it basically replaces itself, so which means you're not losing anything and your boss monster gains so much great abilities. So 4 copies. The next of the soul creatures we play is 4 copies of Black Chains. Black Chains is a box stopper promo that is really hard to get, and its ability is what makes Blood Dragon Sect top tier. Activate. Put this card from your hand into a soul of a Blood Dragon Sect monster on your field. If you do, draw 1 card. So once again, it replaces itself. So basically, you're getting a +1 by hitting line with your boss monster. If this card's in the soul of a Blood Dragon Sect, damage you take is reduced by 1. That could be impact damage, effect damage, or battle damage. Really important in this deck because most of the time your Bloody Eyes will be tanking in the center. So there are times that you really have to take the penetrate damage. However, with this guy in the soul, penetrate and impact damage you take is reduced, so it does counter some of the meta cards right now. The last of the soul creature it plays 3 copies of Deep Lurker, Foe Snoop. So once again, this card ability, activate, put this card from your hand into a soul of a Blood Dragon Sect in the field. Souls of the Blood Dragon Sect monster on the field cannot be dropped by opponent card effect, so it's really good because previously Deadly Eyes dies to soul removal such as Dragon Va, and this card really helps counter that weakness. It also has another ability. During your opponent's turn, if this card is on the soul, when your opponent's monsters are destroyed by card effects, you can charge 1 gauge and gain 1 life. So with Deadly Eyes' ability to potentially destroy 3 monsters, you gain 3 gauge and gain 3 life, which is really nice because it helps excel the gauge. So 3 copies. And some assisting beat sticks we play is 3 copies of Shadow Surf. Shadow Surf is really nice because whenever a monster on an opponent's field is destroyed by battle or by card effects, you can draw 1 card and charge 1 gauge. However, this ability activates once per turn, so potentially you get to draw 1 during your turn and draw another 1 during your opponent's turn. So every turn you're getting 2 extra cards. It's very nice, and it's also 1 crit to beat down if you really like that kind of stuff, which is fine. So 3 copies. Now finally we play 4 copies of the Bloody Eyes and Deadly Eyes Searcher. 4 copies of Marrow Alice. Marrow Alice is very important in this deck because she allows you to search out for your ice monster, and also she reduces the cost of all Blood Dragon Sect monsters by 1 gauge, which is nice. When this card enters the field, you may discard 1 card. If you do, search your deck for 1 ice monster and add it to your hand. So it could be Deadly Eyes or your OG Bloody Eyes. So we play 4 copies because you really need that Deadly Eyes in your opening hand. Now for these spells, we play 4 copies of Grandioso. Grandioso is a powerful card exclusive to Blood Dragon Sect. Put 1 into your gauge, 1 into your hand, and drop the rest, or put them into the soul of a monster on the field. So you power up your monsters, you get draw 1 card, you get charge 1 gauge. It's just a must play in 4 because it gives you so much advantage. 3 copies of Infinite Phantom. Because extra draw power for your deck is always welcome. You may only cast this card with your Blood Dragon on your field, and the monster on your opponent's field was destroyed during his turn. So it could be your turn or your opponent's turn. Either you attack them to death, or you counter attack with your Bloody Eyes. So counter ability, gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. So it's an instant power grid with counter ability, really nice to have. So we play 3 copies. Next we play 3 copies of King of the Dun. King of the Dun is an awesome card from Violence Vanity, which is very similar to Grandioso because it allows you to charge gauge, draw 1 card, and put 1 card into the soul. So once again, extra draw power, extra gauge, and extra soul. Amazing card. 3 copies. Now, 2 copies of Taboo's Ritual. So charge 2 gauge, then if you have a size 3 Blood Dragon on your field, gain 2 life and draw 1 card. So it's mostly used for gauge excel, and since we don't really have a lot of gauge problems, I only tech in 2 because there are so many good cards in Blood Dragons. So yeah, 2 copies is right for me. Now, 2 copies of Dragon Judge, another new card from Violence Vanity. So its cards cost 1 life. Choose a Blood Dragon Sect on your field. Look at top 5 cards of the deck and put 2 cards into the soul, and the rest into the bottom of the deck in any order. You can only cast this once per turn. So this card is amazing as well because at the cost of 1 life, you're able to turbo 2 cards into your soul of your Blood Dragon Sect. And there's a huge chance among those 5 cards that you'll put awesome soul monsters inside. So 2 copies is tagged because it's once per turn. Now, 2 copies of Risen Betray. It's mostly used to counter decks that call from the grave, such as Black Dragon Mill and even Dimension Dragons, because they do play the Machining Sacrifice and they won't be able to call from the drop zone. And also the Cutter Kill, which is the small size 0 monster, won't be able to spawn. So it's pretty nice to have against certain matchups. Otherwise, you can side it out against matchups that don't use them. And it also has additional abilities. If this card's in the soul of a Blood Dragon, that card gains 3k defense and move. So it kind of busts up your Deadly Eyes defense to 13k, which is nice because 10k is kind of the magic number. And if you gain the extra defense, God Gargo will have problem attacking it because it is just 10k now. So just 2 copies tagged against certain matchups. Now I'm going to go through some defensive spells. 2 copies of Scarlet Finger. It's a new negate from Violence Vanity as well. You may only cast card during attack during your opponent's turn, and you have a Blood Dragon Sect on your field. Counter ability, nullify the attack and put up to 1 card from the drop zone into a soul. So not only you protect your Blood Dragon Sect, you'll be able to power it up with soul cards in the drop zone. So with so many great soul cards right now, it's great to tutor them back into souls so they can gain some pluses. 2 copies because I'm actually just trying out in the deck right now. And also 2 copies of the classic Desire Mirage. Similar to Scarlet Finger, it is used as a negate. Counter ability, choose a Blood Dragon Sect on the field. For this turn, if the card will be destroyed, nullify destruction and gain 2 life. So instead of gaining that soul, you gain 2 life. Overall, I kind of prefer Scarlet Finger right now because it gives your monster extra soul, which is life. And if your monster were to die, you are pretty much dead. So I really want to keep the monster on the board. So giving extra soul ensures it stays on the board longer. So yeah, you can mix and match your negates and find your perfect balance. But for now, I'll just play 2 copies. Now for the items, play 2 copies of Dazzling Ring. So it's mostly used against meta decks that has a lot of destruction, such as Magic Gaga, because it prevents all Blood Dragon Sect monsters on the field from being destroyed, which is perfect. And also this card can attack even if a Blood Dragon Sect on your center. So your daily eyes do not need to have the move ability, and you'll still be able to swing in extra 2 damage every single turn. And also he has a very nice bonus of damage you take other than attacks is reduced by 1. So impacts and effect damage such as penetrate will be further reduced by 1. So we only play 2 copies because if you have it, you have it. If you don't, it's alright. So the last 2 cards in the deck I play is 2 copies of Lost World. So Lost World is mandatory in all official Lost Crew members deck. Lost World is a really good card to play in this deck because you have so much survivability and draw power, and this deck has no problem drawing into it. And also casting spells to deeper into the Lost World deck, so therefore I play 2 Lost World. And since Daily Ice is a Lost Video itself, it actually fuels for my Vanity Zero Blazer, which is awesome. All you need is just call 1 random monster from the deck and you're already pretty much set for the impact. So it really helps the deck push for damage. Since this deck is pretty much a tank deck, you won't be able to push damage by itself. Going to Lost World really helps finish off the game. I hope you guys enjoyed my deck profile on my Blood Dragon Sect Deadly Eyes deck. And finally, this concludes my Lost Crew series of deck profiles. If you guys would like to see me do a series for the good guys, leave a like and comment down below on which deck you'd like to see first. And also, if you're looking for decks like these, do check out my online shop www.cardprotagonist.com. Links in the description box down below. We mail worldwide right to your doorstep. So till next time, keep on buddy fighting!